Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel, scattered abroad, and believers in the Messiah. Guys, welcome to Hidden Manna. I'm Dave Sain, your senior shepherd here at LMC. The end of the week is upon us. Of course, the Shabbat has now started, and that means it's time for Hidden Manna. Of course, this is a conversation just between some brothers talking about the things of Yah that hopefully will interest you as we explore. And to do this, of course, I have my dear brother Max with me. Shabbat Shalom, bro.
Shabbat Shalom. How's it going, buddy?
It's been a crazy week.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a crazy, crazy week. We've been running around all day today trying to get ready for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got a visiting fellowship coming in, and we're going to be doing a mikvah. And, you know, we want to, you know, they are obviously more of a traditional, I guess we would say more of a traditional Christian church.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to open up our doors for them. We wanted to show them love. We wanted to try to, you know, minister to them and let them see what we do and how we do it. And
yeah, awesome.
So, you know, I'm really, you know, I guess as over time, I guess you mellow out a bit because what I've realized in going through this process of what we call, whether it's Hebrew roots, Torah, or what Messianic, whatever the actual definition of it is. One thing I've noticed as over the years of doing this, and I absolutely do believe that there is major truth that is unknown to you know, sometimes to modern Christendom,
mm-hmm.
that you absolutely do get within the Hebrew root community. But I've also noticed that there are times when the Hebrew roots community just goes too far.
Mm-hmm.
Goes too far to when I say that, I mean to the point where you know, if somebody doesn't say the thing the way I say it, we want no fellowship with you.
Yep.
You know, if you don't pronounce the thing the way I pronounce the thing, we want no fellowship with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, for me, the bottom line is, all right, do I believe in calling out on the historic name of the master? 100%. Whether it is in modern Hebrew, and I know, but there's groups that will say, oh no, you can't say the modern Hebrew, you can't say Yeshua, or you use a more Paleo Hebraic reference to it. You say Yahusha or Yahushua, and people sort of like draw these lines there, and they're unwilling to sit and talk and have fellowship. And I get that. I guess I was, you know, we're all wrapped up in that for a season, but I've just come to realize that, you know, when we first called on Messiah, we were calling on the name everybody else called on, right? What is the most popular, you know, name that's out there? Mm-hmm. And while that may not actually be the name, that was the introduction that got us to where we are. And I just have to believe that there are lots and lots and lots of people who are beginning to come to the understanding that their sin needs to be forgiven. It needs to be forgiven by the one who died and rose again. And I get it. They're calling on a name that is not necessarily the literal name that would have been called on in the first century, which more than likely in the first century, they're talking Aramaic, even Greek, Hebrew. So I don't know. I've just gotten to the point where I realize I want to honor the name the best I can, which is why I don't use, you know, some of the, and you know, we've all sort of gone through the process. I won't use some of the other names. Once in a while, if I'm trying to minister to somebody and that's the name they know, I'll throw it out there just to make the connection. But I think if we can honor the master, I think we should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How hard is it to actually say the name?
Yeah. And I've had conversations, right, with people from that are still using like what we use the name, Jesus, from
Right.
what we understood, the Messiah's name to be. But then, but when you do show people in love instead of beating them up, what that name means, Yah's salvation, that there is meaning in that name, that no other name, there's no other name, but by which man is saved, then it makes sense, right? But to beat them up, and I think to have an attitude of I'm better than you. I think that's what I think that what you're relating to. I think I'm assuming I could be wrong, but in the Hebrew roots world, if you don't say like you said, if you're not saying Hakel or Elohim, and yeah, we still get caught up in saying the Greek words, which I'm 51 years old, so since I was 10 years old, I went to church, so for a longer portion of my life, I've used those names and those words. So you still get caught up sometimes, and oh man, But just recently during trumpets, I've been listening to so much worship we were doing the other night, and it's so hard, right? Because every worship song you want to hear, what do you hear, right? It's always has G, and you
Right.
want to, and of course in your head you overstep it with Yeshua, right? You're replacing, and that's great because we know, and now that right, we're gonna walk in truth. But I agree, bro. And in our group, if you want to say Hebrew roots, it's not just that. I think we've divided ourselves over calendar times, and so much stuff where we've forgotten love. And without love, no matter how much Torah we follow, we're just a clanging cymbal. If we
Yeah.
can't love one another and reach out,
Yeah, I
and
agree. I
so
agree. And I'm not in any way saying, because I think it is a good and right and respectful thing that if we understand what his literal Hebraic name is,
hmm
why not use it?
yeah,
I see no problem with that.
mm,
I think we should. And it's not like you can say, well, people can't pronounce it. Come on.
I know.
Come on. If you really want to pronounce it, you can pronounce it.
hmm
The other side of it, of course, is that, there are other beliefs and doctrines and things that are associated with other names that were like, well, I'm not really sure that's not the direction. He didn't come to destroy the law, right? That type of thing.
Yeah.
But I you know what it is? I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy on that day, when the disciples say to the master, "Hey, there's somebody out there and he's preaching in your name. Should we rebuke him? Should we cast down fire and blow this guy away? And he's not actually part of us, and he's doing his own thing." And the master's like, "Yo, wait. If he's not sowing against us,
Yep.
leave him alone."
Yep.
And so, I think there are definitely people that are not sowing against us. Not everybody, of course. We've got to, take each case, I guess, on an individual thing. But listen, I was there. I was that guy. You were that guy.
hmm
That's all we knew. But our progression of faith has brought us to where we are, and that's kind of the way I would hope that we would influence some other people to try to go down that route. But when I speak, I want to be able to speak or preach or teach in a way where those people who are with Hebrew roots or whatever you want to call it, that understand the name or some deeper things about it, can listen to what we say and say, "Oh my goodness, that makes sense." But also those people who aren't there yet, who are looking, towards using whatever name, but will hear things and say, "Oh wow, that makes sense,"
hmm
and start to grow up. At least that's
Yep. I
that's
hear you,
kind of where
brother.
I am right now.
Do I have an issue with my camera? Am I
Oh
off?
yeah, what happened, man? I didn't even notice that. I wasn't
I
even
have
looking.
no. This
I
is the
wasn't
second
even
time
looking.
tonight. I haven't touched nothing. It's just this happened last week. I wonder if my camera's starting to go. Once it
Yeah,
gets heated up.
yeah. Well, give the director
I got him now. He's coming in.
yeah, give him a text real quick. Maybe he can jump in there. But so yeah, Well, certainly we'll use the name, and even that, I get flack sometimes for using the name Yeshua because that's a more modern Hebrew or a modern Aramaic way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, others will say Yahusha or Yahushua or Yahashua. I mean, I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine with them all. I really am. So long as we're talking about the one who is Yah's salvation, who is the one who is Elohim in the flesh, who is the one who is the voice of Mount Sinai, the
Yep.
one who died and rose again, the one who is our Savior, who is our Melchizedek. We can. I think on that day we can. On that day, I think he's going to tell us, "Hey, listen, guys, would you do me a favor? Would you just all call me blah 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 blah?"
Yeah.
And if he does that, fine. Then I'll call him blah 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 blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah.
Yep. Yep.
But
I
right
hear you,
now,
brother.
here's where we are. This is where we are.
Yeah. Definitely something weird with the camera. I haven't touched it. This is the second time tonight.
That's
this
all
has
right.
done
We
this.
we can
Matt's
hear.
in here. He's trying to
Yeah, we can
configure it.
definitely hear your audio. So just keep responding and going on in the conversation. But before we jump into all of this, and I know your picture's not up, but everybody can hear your audio. Did you listen to President Trump's address at the UN?
Yes, I did. I
Oh
did.
my goodness! Oh, there
Hey,
you go. You pop back in. There you go. It was bold.
mm-hmm.
He did not hold back. He called out the globalist agenda.
Yep.
He
Yep.
called out this idea of flooding our nations with migrants. This very Marxist globalist thing. And you know what? I as I'm listening to it, I'm saying, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, go for it.
I told you I laughed because coincidentally, as soon as Trump made it to the escalator, you saw that it
Uh,
stopped working.
Come on.
And then when he went out to the teleprompter, it was working fine. Then as soon as he went to do his speech, the teleprompter went out. And
Yeah.
I was just like, that's too many. Just we just had one out on my camera, but come on, this is the president of the United States. You're gonna make sure everything is working tip top before this guy, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are definitely people that are fighting against him.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no absolutely no way around that.
Yep.
But some of the stuff he said, and I talked about this. Oh my goodness, this must have been like minimum 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Called Living Manna. Then we were called Pelham Bay AG. I remember doing a study because I was seeing all of the influx of how Merkel from Germany and England, I forget who the prime minister was at the time, they were just flooding their countries with migrants from the Islamic world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that time, the birth rate, because I saw this whole amazing video on what the birth rate was, and a nation whose birth rate is under 1.4, 1.5. So every woman's supposed to have I don't know how you have 1.5. I mean, basically two kids.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, any nation that has a birth rate under that, it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
That culture will eventually, in short term, like 50, 60, 70, 80 years, they're going to die out. And they knew that. And that's pretty much the birth rate of Germany and Austria and England and France. It is just not sustainable. People just aren't having babies, and why and how and
Yeah, I
who
think there's
knows
the
who knows
agenda.
who knows. Yeah, is there an agenda? Is there some sort of globalism thing? Does it have to do something with the jab that we've taken in the last?
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
I'm here and I got to do some more studying this, but I'm hearing lots and lots and lots of stuff out there
Yeah.
about young people that are having a real hard time conceiving now.
Mm-hmm. I think I was watching a podcast. I'm not going to lie and make up a person. I forgot who it was, but they literally said that it was the past 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. This is just, don't quote me, but the first time during the influx of immigration, illegal immigration coming through our southern border, outpaced our birth rate
Yeah.
in America. We were having more. That's how our population was growing, not from actual people giving birth. So for the first time, we had from the people coming into our country outperformed, like you said, young people having children. And you can go down that whole rabbit hole. I think we could save that for another manner when we do our
Well,
health.
yeah, it's
Our
like I
health.
said, I did this like 15, 18, 19, 20 years ago
Mhm.
when this first started. And back then I was saying, if Europe keeps doing what they're doing, and you have the birth rate of the natural Europeans who was 1.2, 1.1 versus the Islamic migrants that are coming in, whose birth rate is somewhere like 8.6,
Mhm.
multiple wives, multiple children. It's not going to be, it's not going to take 200 years for before you know it that England is not the England we traditionally know.
Mhm.
France is not the France and they're not. If you watch the
Mhm.
videos now, you see what's going. And even here in America, it's happening here too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but you can see it in a much more vivid way in Europe. It's not Europe anymore. It's
No.
not. It's you go to France. That's not the France. You go to France. There's a expectation that you want to see the Parisians, right? You want to
Mhm.
see French culture, and all of a sudden you go there, and it's not French
Have a
culture
baguette.
anymore.
Have a
Have
baguette.
a baguette. um,
Mhm.
and same thing with England. And so there's these major conflicts that are going on between the native population and the imported population. But if things keep going the way they are,
Yeah.
this is just going to be one of those end time things,
Yeah.
because conflict is coming. I mean,
Mhm.
conflict's already here,
Yep.
but conflict is coming because that is absolutely unsustainable.
Mhm. And
Un-
I think it really goes right back to being fruitful and multiplying, because the agenda to depopulate is why they so support. And I'm not going to say it for algorithms' sakes, but there's a certain alphabetical word acronym that we use, right? That they support, because a man and a man can't make a child, a woman and the woman can't procreate, right?
of
So
course.
they push this agenda along with the foods we're eating, the chemicals, and all that. So yeah, I think
Sure.
one day, once we get, me and PD want to give a proper thing where people can't debunk it. They can't call us, a bunch of haters and liars. We're going to get some real hard facts, and we're going to give a manna in the future, y'all willing, and do it the right way, right, bro?
Yeah, but this is disconcerting. Like I said, I first preached about this like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are 20 years later, and we're seeing it. It's
Yep.
it's happening. It's real. It's right in front of us. And should Yah give us the next 20 years? I just can't imagine
Mm-hmm.
what Europe is going to look like, or what America is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then,
and these are just not cultures that are willing to assimilate into whatever the native culture is.
oh yeah.
These are cultures that are looking to dominate whatever
Mm-hmm.
culture they come into and
Mm-hmm.
implement their religious and political beliefs, and it's happening.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's happening,
It
and
really is.
it's sad, it's scary,
Well,
but that's the way of the world.
another sad quick topic before we start was RFK just came out, with the Tylenol.
Yes.
Correlation isn't always causation, right? He said but there is a warning, for pregnant women with Tylenol. And again, what do you see all across social media? Um, a doctor put out a quick video today, and I watched it, and it was so true. She said that she didn't even vote. She said in the last two elections, but she said that she is sad to see women that hate this administration so bad that they would take Tylenol on purpose on all these TikTok videos just to show their hate for him, neglecting the love for the child in their womb.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
and it was
that.
just so sad. I'm like, what are you doing? Why is it a political thing? We have an issue in our country with the highest autism rates ever recorded, and we have people that are trying to figure it out. And we all know what is the number one liver killer? Acetaminophen,
Yeah,
right?
Tylenol. Yeah,
For adults.
for adults.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine? So, I mean, I don't want to get down that route. This isn't that video for that, but I'm just saying how wicked the heart of man is. How we would, we just I don't know. It was sad to see that. These poor babies that are they're the ones that are taking the brunt for people that are just trying to be political about it.
Yeah, it is sad. I saw some of those videos. It blew me away. Why you would hate it really does come down to hating Trump. Why you would hate him so much, despite whatever the science is they came up with, that you're just going to do it just to spite him. But you know what? The repercussions are the repercussions. We all make our choices.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, yeah, I saw it, and my heart broke for it. But yeah, we can definitely do another matter on that, because we are living in the days of lawlessness.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, it is just across the board lawlessness, and so maybe that's a good manner for another day.
Yep.
But we started last week the Testament of Levi, or Levi, and some amazing information is in there. We'll get as far as we can get today, but before
very prophetic, huh? Very prophetic book.
What I think what most people don't realize is that from the the Qumran community perspective, their view was that right from the beginning, Adam, Seth, Enosh, Methuselah, Enoch, Noah, that they all wrote things down, which just on a common sense level to me just makes sense.
Yeah.
And that these things were passed down. Noah took those books on the ark with him. These stories, these testaments, they knew it was coming. They knew a Messiah was coming.
Yep.
And so the Essene community view was that all of these books that had been, all the way up to the time of before Babylon, after Babylon, in Nehemiah, kept by the Zadok priest. But when the cults came, like Pharisees and Sadducees, they denied those books. They didn't want that. They taught something very, very different from what had already been taught. And when you read through the book of the patriarchs, you realize as you go through it, it is what today we would call Christian doctrine. I mean, from virgin birth to crucified, to stay away from the nails, it's amazing. And I know people say, well, maybe it was written later on, afterward, books are found. Yeah, but we found books in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And we're going to show you some historical documents of some other books that we don't have anymore. We don't have, but they have been mentioned by historical entities and telling us what's in those books. And of course, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we do have major fragments of all the patriarch books, little pieces of Levi, little pieces of Joseph, and et cetera. And they are the same as, the book that was found 1,000 years before, put out by the Armenian church.
Yeah, say it's not credible just makes no sense, because look at our modern, when I say modern, I'm talking about the history just of America. Everything we've done has been written down by pen, right? There's been a scribe for everything from the beginning of our time. Why wouldn't there have been scribes writing it down from the beginning of time?
Right. And this goes for any nation.
Yep.
So long as there was language, people wrote stuff down. So it makes absolute sense to me that these things would have been written down and understood and taken to Babylon by the Zadok priest, brought back from Babylon by the Zadok priest, preserved in the temple, and then taken with them as they were kicked out of Qumran, where another group, Pharisees and Sadducees, come in that have a totally different perspective. They don't want to hear that. They have a different take on who Yah is and what we should do. But now we realize our contemporary faith does not reflect Phariseeism, not at all. Nor does it reflect Sadduceeism. I mean, not even close.
Yeah.
But it does reflect the people of the Qumran.
Which really, we see the story laid out right before us in the New Testament, right? Mashiach is always calling them, right? Vipers, son of a viper, your father, the devil, just John, right? All these, why, right? There's always been, from that time period. But yeah,
yeah. These are terms you see in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yep.
So we're looking at the book of Levi. But before we jump back into the book of Levi, we wanted to show you that the understanding, the realization that the books of the patriarchs, and when we say patriarchs, the book from there was a book of Adam believed to be written, and obviously whatever copy they have wasn't written by Adam, it was copied, time and time and time and time and time again. But the root information, they say, comes from Adam or Enosh or Seth. And we've got little pieces of these books. But here is, I want to show you this, guys. This is, let me see if I can pop this up so you guys can see. This is the book of Josephus. This is the Antiquities of the Jews. And I wanted to show you something. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Oh, I just had it. We'll start right here. This is I guess paragraph 3. It says, now Adam, who was the first man and made out of, so this is Josephus, right? He's just a historian. And yet, so he sees the destruction of the temple, and he's writing afterward, and he's the one that confirms for us that the book of Adam was there in the first century. Now, we don't have it now, but he's telling us it was there in that day because he quotes it. He's telling us what it says. He says, Adam was the first man and made out of the earth, for our discourse must now be about him. After Abel was slain, Cain fled away on account of his murder, was solicitous for posterity, and he had a vehement desire of children, being 230 years old, which is incorrect. He's 130, so he's using the Septuagint, and he's quoting the Septuagint, and there's 100-year difference. But be that as it may, the theme is correct. He goes, after which time he lived 700 and then died. He's talking about Adam. He had indeed many other children, but Seth in particular. As for the rest, it would be tedious to name them. So he's telling us, Adam had lots and lots of other kids.
Yeah.
But he's focusing on Seth and what happens with Seth. He says, I will therefore only endeavor to give an account of those that proceed from Seth. Now this Seth, when he was brought up, came to those years in which he could discern what was good, and he became a virtuous man. And he was himself of an excellent character. So did he leave the children behind him who imitated his virtues. All these proved to be of good dispositions. They also inhabited the same country without dissensions, and in a happy condition, without any misfortunes falling upon them till they died. So the line of Seth does very, very well. They were also inventors of that particular sort of wisdom which is concerned with the heavenly bodies and their order, the calendar. He's telling us the line of Seth was about the calendar, and that their inventions might not be lost before they were sufficiently known. And here it is. Upon Adam's prediction that the world was to be destroyed at one time by the force of fire. Guys, I'm reading down here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor as I'm doing it. Let me see if I can highlight this. Yeah, there we go. Upon Adam's prediction that the world was to be destroyed at one time by the force of fire, and here it is, and at another time by the quantity of water. And so here's Josephus telling us what is in the scroll of Adam, who is saying there is a global destruction coming of fire and of water. But he's telling us Adam doesn't know which one comes first. He's unsure. He knows they're coming. He just doesn't know which one's coming first. So what did they do? It says they made, let me highlight this here. They made two pillars. Let me highlight this whole thing. So remember, this is Josephus saying this. They made two pillars, the one of brick and another of stone, meaning Adam did. So Adam knew this was coming, and they wrote down stuff, which tells us that just from Josephus' words, they were writing back then. They were preserving things back then. They made two pillars, the one of brick, the other of stone. They inscribed them. They inscribed their discoveries on them both, that in case the pillar of brick should be destroyed by the flood, the pillar of stone might remain, and exhibit those discoveries to mankind, and also inform them that were there that there was another pillar of brick erected by them. So whatever Adam and those around him, don't forget, he's a Melchizedek, he's a king, he's a leader of men. They decided to transcribe on brick the prophecies they understood. Fire and water are coming, not knowing which one's first. And so they put them supposedly on something that they thought would make it through, whether it's fire or so water.
Like hieroglyphics, right?
Yeah, but the idea is that it would remain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So something that through the, yeah.
Right. So the last verse there says, now, so this is Josephus. Now this remains, meaning the two pillars that Adam wrote upon in the testament of Adam, telling us it's two judgments, fire and water, not knowing which one's first. Now this remains in the land of Syriad to this day. So Josephus is telling us in his day, they know where these pillars are that go all the way back to the flood. Now, where they are now, nobody's got any idea. Are they still there? Were they destroyed? Who knows? But here is sort of historical evidence from a historian telling us this was common knowledge. They knew the letters of the patriarchs. They knew the information that was given down, and obviously there was these two pillars that were attributed to Adam, I guess full of prophecy or instruction or whatever it was. I think that's just marvelous.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think I think that is just absolutely incredible. Here is what book is this?
Is it Adam and Eve?
Yeah. This is the book of Adam and Eve. Let me show you guys this. This is chapter 50. So there's one historical reference. That's Josephus, who's telling us that this is so. So you got the Essenes telling us that this is so. That Adam and Enosh and Enoch and Methuselah, that they all wrote books all the way up to Noah, from Noah to Abraham. They all wrote books. They all wrote testaments that were kept and put together and preserved to give us the story of who Yah is and the coming Messiah. Including, of course, the patriarchs themselves, the 12 brothers. So yeah,
You want me to read this?
yeah, if you've got it,
Yeah, I can see it on the screen. Just
yeah, from
starting on 49.
You can start at
Yeah, I can start at 49 real
You
quick.
can start at 49.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hear me, my children, that I might recount for you how I and your father transgressed the precept of Elohim. Michael the archangel said to us, on account of your conspiracies, our Lord will bring upon your race the wrath of his judgment, first by water, second by fire. So he gives the order here, huh?
Yeah. So the order's here. So Adam didn't understand it, but by this time they did.
Yep. And it says, by these two will the Lord judge all the human race. But hear me, my children, make tablets of stone and other tablets of earth, and write on them my whole life, and that of your father, which you have heard from us and have seen. And if he judges our race by water, the tablets of earth will dissolve, but the tablets of stone will endure. If, however, he judges our race by fire, the tablets of stone will be destroyed, but the tablets of the earth will be fired. And then when he said all these things to her children, she stretched out her hand toward heaven, knelt upon the earth, worshipped Elohim, giving thanks, gave up her spirit. Afterwards, all her children buried her, and with great weeping. And after they had mourned her for 4 days, Michael appeared to them and said to Seth, man of Elohim, mourn no longer than 6 days, for the seventh day is the sign of the resurrection. It's pretty wild, right?
So there you go.
Yep.
But before, I mean, there's so much in here.
Yep. Yeah.
But we just got a way before Pharisees, way before Sadducees, way before, gospel account telling us that the week, the whole concept of a week is actually the concept of the resurrection.
Yep. It's a pattern, right? Same pattern. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's great.
So do you want me to finish that?
Yeah. Finish verse 3.
Verse 3. Coming age, and on the seventh day the Lord rested from all his works, from all his work indeed. And the eighth day is the sign of the future and eternal blessedness, in which all the holy will reign throughout endless ages with the Creator, Savior himself, in both soul and body, never again to die. Amen. You know that in Revelation, right? It says Abba comes down to the earth, right? And him and Yeshua.
And even beyond that, it's a reference to the tablets that Josephus references.
The 2 stones, yeah.
Then Seth made 2 tablets of stone and 2 of earth, and he devised the caps of the letters, and he wrote on them the life of his father Adam and his mother Eve, which he had heard from them and seen with his own eyes. He placed the tablets in the middle of his father's house in the oratory where he prayed to the Lord. After the flood, these written tablets were seen by many men, these written stones, but were legible to no one. Solomon, however, being wise, saw the writing and prayed to the Lord. There appeared to him an angel of the Lord saying, I am he who holds the hand of Seth, that he might write on these stones with his finger, with an iron finger and with an iron stylus. You will be knowledgeable of these writings, so that you might know and understand whence they are and what these stones contain, and where the oratory was there. Adam and Eve worshiped the Lord. It's
like you see on the mountain, right? When God wrote with his finger, wrote right?
So,
with an iron finger.
I think it is naive of us. I mean, just incredibly naive of us to think that, these people didn't realize what was going on. They obviously did. They knew a flood was coming. They knew judgment was coming. They knew a Mashiach was coming. They knew whether it was fire or water. They knew it was coming, and they wrote this stuff down. Why wouldn't they? We write stuff down all the time.
Yep.
We video log, we blog, we're on the internet, we're putting it on our phones. Well, that's what we're doing. But the people before us,
is
out, right? It's our modern version, but we've been doing this forever. So this idea that no, there's no way that they could have done that. I don't know. To me, just sounds fishy, especially if what was written clearly identifies a coming Messiah who would be born of a virgin, who would die a sacrificial death, right? I get why Pharisees would not want this stuff given out as part of the canon to their people. But the Zadoks,
but we
they
see that,
believed it.
and we see that type of writing. Like I said before, hieroglyphics. You go in any Egyptian pyramid, right, or these caves and these, right, even in the early America, right, we see Indian carvings and whatever it was, and really cool. The real Mount Sinai, right? We saw when they couldn't write down on paper. We see like you've seen the video. Remember the
they inscribed it on stone.
They scribed it on stone. They did the cows. They did everything. Everything was written down. Everything was recorded.
So it only makes sense to me that if this was going on from the time of Jacob on, it was going on before Jacob. It was going on before Jacob.
Yep.
You know, the books that Noah brought from the pre-flood era, he brought them back. And Methuselah had them. From Methuselah given to Abraham, and from Abraham given to Isaac, and Isaac and Jacob. This is what Jacob was studying, and what Esau had no desire to study. It says, Jacob dwelt in tents, meaning he studied, he learned the books, where Edom or Esau wanted nothing to do with any of that stuff. So it makes sense. It just to me anyway, it absolutely makes sense. So with that, all of that being said,
just to start our study, and
8:15, we're in the book of Levi, which is one of those books. And it's crazy because there's parts of the book of Levi, even though this was found 1,000 years earlier, there's parts of the book of Levi that are found in the Dead Sea Scrolls verbatim as to what it says written 1,000 years ago. So, from a linguistics perspective, from an archaeological perspective, if they say the same thing, that's a really good indication of their age, that no, this wasn't something changed later on by Christians to make it more, Jesus friendly. This is what the patriarchs believed and understood. So let's pick this up. We read verse 6. Let's pick this up at chapter 6. Let's pick this up at chapter 7. Remember, this is Levi, who has been called to the priesthood, both by his father, splitting up the Melchizedek priesthood, and also by an angel, by Yah himself, telling him that his lineage are going to be priests.
That's right. We got Romans up on the screen, bro.
Romans. Oh, let me share this tab here. Sorry. Thank you. So here is chapter 7, very short chapters. I'll read the first one. You can read chapter 8.
Okay, we'll go back and forth. Go ahead.
Yep. So this is Levi talking to his children, last will and testament. And I said to my father Jacob, through you, the Lord will bring the Canaanites to nothing, and will give their land to you and to your descendants after you. From this day forward, Shechem shall be called the city of senselessness. Now we saw what they did to Shechem. Because as one might scoff at a fool, so we scoffed at them. Because by defiling my sister, they committed folly in Israel. And we left there and we came to Bethel. All right, so this is just a reference from last week, what they wind up doing to the people of Shechem, circumcising them and then just cutting them down, killing them. And we find out that that's what Yah told them to do.
Yep, because he knew it wasn't going to end with Dinah, right? It was going to continue.
Father saw beyond that.
It's
so
true.
Don't measure the way men measure. Father has a different way of measuring.
Yep.
Chapter 8.
Can you do me a favor, brother? Can you just raise that up a little bit so I can? There we go. Thank you. And there I again saw the vision as formerly, after we had been there 70 days. And I saw 7 men in white clothing who were saying to me, "Arise, put on the vestments of the priesthood, the crown of righteousness, the oracle of understanding, the robe of truth, the breastplate of faith/truth, the mitre for the head, and the apron for the prophetic power." And each carried one of these and put them on me and said, "From now on, be a priest, you and your posterity." The first anointed me with the holy oil and gave me a staff. The second washed me with pure water, fed me by hand with bread and holy wine, and put on me a holy and glorious vestment. The third put on me something made of linen like an ephod. The fourth placed around me a girdle which was like purple. The fifth gave me a branch of rich olive wood. The sixth placed a wreath on my head. And the seventh placed a priestly diadem on me and filled my hands with incense in order that I might serve as priest for the Lord God. And they said to me, "Levi, your posterity shall be divided into 3 offices as a sign of the glory of the Lord who is coming. The first lot shall be great, no other shall be greater than it. The second shall be in the priestly role, but the third shall be granted a new name, because from Judah a king will arise and shall found a new priesthood in accord with the Gentile model, the model of the people, and for all nations.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
That's pretty wild, right?
That's wild.
That's really cool.
That's
really
wild.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, and even before we get to the Messiah prophecy, we see in 11, not 11, when he talks about the wine and the bread, right? This is all temple, right? The showbread.
this is
right?
temple. This is Melchizedek meeting Abraham.
Yeah,
this is
going
Yeshua.
Ding, 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 right?
Yeah. Your spidey senses should be tingling all over this.
Yep.
So way before there is the Aaronic priesthood as we know it, actual Levi is being prepared and dressed in this vision, not just for him, but for his posterity to fulfill this role.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you brought it up, I think it was last week or maybe one of your other studies, but you briefly went into that's why in Exodus 32, after we see the incident at the golden calf, right? Who do we see step up in zealousness, just like Phineas, right? What was the tribe of Levi, right? They grabbed their swords and what did they do?
Yeah.
They killed 3,000 that day, 3,000 for disobedience. And then I just love it because the restoration part of it we see in Acts, right? Where 3,000 are restored to life in the book of Acts. But yeah, it's so cool, man, to see all these things that just line up. They line up with scripture, man.
So this is let's take a look at this real quick. So your posterity shall be divided into 3 offices. And it was, right? There was Aaron, Korah, I forget what the other brother was, 3 different sets of Levites that were there. As a sign to the glory of Yahweh is coming, the first lot shall be great, no other shall be greater than it. The second lot shall be in the priestly role, but the third lot shall be granted a new name, because from Judah a king will arise and shall found a new priesthood in accord with the Gentile model and of the people of all nations. So I'm wondering how this is divided up. How is he divided? I understand the whole idea of obviously a priest coming, but he's going to come from Judah, which basically that's Melchizedek.
Yeah, which makes you realize the writer of Hebrews knew this, had this in him, right?
Had
this
to.
Is all, yeah. Which I think is Paul. But that's just, I think many people think that. But anyway, yeah.
So the third priesthood shall be granted a new name, because from Judah a king will arise and shall found a new priesthood. That's Messiah. With the Gentile model, meaning the Melchizedek model of the people for all ages. The second shall be the priestly one. the first lot shall be great. No other shall. You know what I? You know what? You know what I think? This is me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think he's saying? I think he's saying the Aaronic priesthood is the first lot that shall be great, meaning Aaron and Eleazar and Phineas and blah 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 blah. And then the second shall be in the priestly role. I think he's talking about the Zadok priest.
Mm-hmm.
But the third shall be granted a new name, not Aaronic priesthood, Melchizedek priesthood, because from Judah a king, Messiah, shall arise and shall be found a new priesthood. I think what he's referring to is how it begins with the Aaronic priesthood, and that goes for a time until they commit adultery, until they go crazy, and then Yah picks the Zadok priesthood, which is still part of the Aaronic priesthood, but it's the Zadoks, and that exists all the way until the time Messiah comes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's my reading.
No, I agree. Only because if it says the first lot should be great, no other shall be greater, right away you can think, oh, that's the Melchizedek. But no, this is Levi. We already see that was established with Abraham and all. So, but he's not talking about that. So I agree with you with that. I can see that. That makes sense.
That makes the most. I mean, if we're trying to that makes the most sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 14? No, 15.
15, yeah.
Yep. His presence is beloved as a prophet of the Most High, a descendant of Abraham, our father. To you and to your posterity will be everything desired in Israel, and you shall eat everything attractive to behold, and your posterity will share them among themselves, the Lord's table. From among them will be priests, judges, and scribes, and by their word the sanctuary will be controlled. When I awoke, I understood that this was like the first dream, and I hid this in my heart as well, and I did not report it to any other human being on the earth.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. You have a dream or a vision like this, man. You're just you're bugging out. But let's I want to take a look at this. So verse 15, his presence. So we're talking about the Mashiach.
Yeah. Still the king of Judah.
That last presence who finds a new priesthood with the Gentile model, meaning the Melchizedek model of the people, and it's for all nations. So here we are in the patriarch letters telling us this is not exclusively a Jewish thing, right? Or this is not exclusively a house of Israel thing.
Yeah, my house of prayers for all people, right?
So here they are. They're saying, no, this is. It may start with us, but this is a global thing. To you and your posterity will everything be desired in Israel, and you shall eat everything attractive to behold, and your posterity will share among themselves the Lord's table. I kind of wonder if he's talking about the Passover.
Desired in Israel, you shall eat everything attractive.
Because he's saying your descendants will be everything desired in Israel, and you shall eat everything attractive to behold, and your posterity will share among themselves the Lord's table. From among them will be priests, judges, and scribes, and by their word the sanctuary will be controlled.
This Ezekiel, right, with the future, right, when he called the Zadok priest, I don't know. You shall eat everything attractive, the prosperity and among them, and Lord's table. From among them will be priests, judges, and scribes, right? Because this is the future. Trying to figure this out too.
I'm wondering if he's saying that because here verse 14, because from Judah a king will arise and shall found a new priesthood in accordance with the Gentile model. So we're talking about a new priesthood that's applicable to all nations. this priesthood, his presence is beloved as a prophet, as the Most High. He's a descendant of Abraham, our father, to you and to your posterity, meaning to this new priest, this new king priest will be everything desired in Israel. He will be what Israel has always been longing for. And you shall eat everything attractive to behold, and your posterity will share among them. Yeah, okay.
Do you think this is the kingdom with Yeshua reign? Because he says that he founds a new priesthood, right? We're priests and kings, right? With the Gentile model from all the nations, right?
I think he's talking about the Passover. Now, I agree. I think this might have application later on because we are kings and priests, and we're going to eat we won't eat the Passover again with him until we eat it anew in the kingdom. But I'm wondering if what this is actually making a reference to is that this king priest who finds a new priesthood that will attract the disciples, right? The Pharisees, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all these different people, and they're going to sit at the Lord's table and eat. Eat. This is my body, which is for you. Drink. This is my blood, which is spilled for you. I'm wondering.
Yeah.
And from among them will be priests, judges, and scribes. And that's exactly what comes out of the disciples. And by their word, the sanctuary will be controlled. Wow. When I awoke, I understood. So I really, to me, it kind of sounds like he is prophesying the coming of Messiah in the context that we know him, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely mind-boggling. Let's do one more, chapter 9. Is it a big one or a short one?
This one looks a little bit bigger. Yeah.
All right, we can get through it. You want to read it? Want me to read it?
You got it. I had 8.
All right. And after 2 days, Judah and I went out with our father Jacob to Isaac, our grandfather. And my father blessed me in accord with the vision that I had seen, and he did not want to go with us to Bethel. When we came to Bethel, my father Jacob saw a vision concerning me that I should be in the priesthood. So Jacob knows. And thus he came to Hebron to settle there. He arose early and paid tithes for all to the Lord through me. And Isaac kept calling me continually to bring to my remembrance the law of the Lord. So the instructions already been given, just as the angel had shown me. And he taught me the law of the priesthood, sacrifices, holocausts, voluntary offerings of these are all the Holocaust means the different offerings, voluntary offerings of the first fruits, offerings for safe return. Day by day, he was informing me, occupying himself with me. And he said to me, be on your guard against the spirit of promiscuity, for it is constantly active, and through your descendants, it is about to defile this. Oh, wait. Wait. Through your descendants, it is about to defile the sanctuary. Therefore, take for yourself a wife while you are still young, a wife who is free of blame and profanation, who is not from the race of an alien nation. Before you enter the sanctuary, bathe. While you are sacrificing, wash. And again, when the sacrifice is concluded, wash. Present to Yah the 12 trees that have leaves, as Abraham taught me. So there's some information here. We just, I'm not sure we have any reference to Abraham's teaching something about 12 trees, which honestly brings me right back to Revelation. There's the 12 trees,
different fruit
of the life with the different fruit, So yeah, I can see the connection, even though we don't really get any much information. And from every clean living animal and bird, bring a sacrifice to Yah. And of all your first fruits and wine, bring the very first as a sacrifice to the Lord God, and salt with every sacrificial offering. So you got to wonder, was this process beginning during the time of Levi, and that by the time in Egypt, after all their time in Egypt, that they had forgotten these things or stopped doing them, to where now as they get out of Egypt, Father has to restore everything. I wonder.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying it is. I'm just spitballing here. If it's,
And
you know,
it's
if
the
we can
same
take this
thing
for face value.
and 9 fornication, basically. In the other translations it says fornication. We saw the same thing with Reuben, right? How to be on guard. That was for it is constantly active, and through your descendants it is about to defile the sanctuary.
Which is a major prophecy, because if they're saying his descendants, meaning the descendants of Levi, at some point in the future, we're not told when, they're going to defile the sanctuary, i.e., Sadducees.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And
yep.
and kicking out the Zadok priest who was supposed to be there. And then sacrificing the Holy One of Israel, the one who we just read in the chapter before, is going to come from Judah and create a new priesthood.
And anyone can get into, if you do just research on the priests, how, not the priests, the Pharisees, how evil they were, because they took that power, right? Just like any other man in power, what would he do when women come to him, right? And so yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this, man. There's
yeah,
there's a lot, right?
There's a lot. We'll stop there for tonight, but this is interesting. Very, very interesting.
And ironically, we wanted to get to chapter 12 today, and we're like, these are small chapters, and
yeah, no, we'll get there next week. We'll get there next week.
7, 8, yeah, 3 of
yeah.
them.
Let's scroll down to chapter 12 real quick. And Gershom took a wife who bore him Lomé and Samai, the sons of Korah, Kohath, Abraham, Issachar, Hebron, the sons of Merari. These are all the sons that come from him. And the 94th year, Abraham took Jochebed, my daughter, and his wife behind he and my daughter had been born in the same day. I was 8 years old when I entered the land of Canaan, and 18 years old when I killed Shechem. During the years I served, at 19 years I served as a priest, and 28 years I took a wife, and at 48 I entered Egypt. So this concept of the priesthood was going on beforehand.
Yeah, but I do see one thing that's different from the later priesthood is look at the age difference, right? Because you couldn't become priest at 19, right? You had to be
right.
What was the right in the Torah,
right?
So, but obviously this is, you're talking Levi compared to
Well, the instruction hadn't been given yet.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Yeah, so don't show 18. 18
wow.
is
okay. Yeah, we'll stop there. We just keep going on and on, because it really is an amazing story.
Some good stuff in there, man.
Yeah, I've seen some other things in a couple of the other patriarch writings I've read that I'm reading. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe what that thing just said.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you really get to wrap your mind around how the people of the Essenes, or the community, why they rejected the Pharisaic doctrine and the Sadduceic doctrine. They considered it lies. They considered it a cult. They considered them cults who have taken over the temple. But their understanding of Moses was based on this. Was based on what the patriarchs said, based on what the prophets said, based on what Isaiah said, or what Psalms said, based obviously on what Moses said, not the interpretation given to us by the Pharisees. And all of a sudden you read this, and this is all about Messiah.
Yep.
This is all about Messiah.
Amen.
What a wonderful book.
It's awesome.
Yep.
I just wanted to, I know we still have the funding for Sophia still up on the LMC app.
Yep.
Correct? So quick. She's a 13-year-old girl suffering from a rare cancer. Only 125 children have known to have this type of cancer. So with that, she's doing lots of trials that they're doing, and they have to travel all over, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, all different cities, and they're there for a while. So to help out the family, we're just trying to show some love of Messiah. And if you can, just go on LMC app under giving, hit that little giving thing, and then you'll see helping Sophia. If you can, like I said, we know her family would appreciate it. But other than that, are we going to do, while I have you on here, next Friday? Is that Atonement? The date, is that next week?
I don't have the calendar in
I don't
front
want to put
of
you on
me.
the spot. I was just saying, I don't know if we're going to be live.
Yeah, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I'll make an announcement tomorrow and midweek. Either that, or I'm not sure if we have a prayer service or what's going on. But
Okay,
we'll make the announcement tomorrow.
Okay, so if we don't, I just want to know for a fellowship. So okay, cool. But other than that, looking forward to tomorrow, brother. I know you've been doing some diligent work, and we all know Pastor Appreciation Day is coming up. But just to give you
thank you, brother.
It might not be something that can put in your pocket, but I love you, man, and I appreciate you. I think everyone out there can agree with me. You put together some quality stuff. There's no way anyone can say that you're just speaking out of you do your homework, you do your research, and I know that you're accountable to Yah. And I just want to say we love you, buddy, and we're praying for you that Yah continues to give you strength and wisdom and knowledge, bro.
Thank you. I sincerely appreciate that.
I know you do.
And
Love you, man.
We love what we do. We love serving.
Yep. Love you, buddy.
All right, man. You too. Peace, everybody.
Enjoy
the rest of your evening. Shabbat shalom. We'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Good night, everybody. Peace.
Good night.